Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. We'll give it probably another 5 or 6 minutes and let everybody get logged in.
Technology is wonderful.
I love it.
Hey, Grace.
Hey, Allegra, how are you? Technology is wonderful. Your pride has to sacrifice a little bit.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's okay. This is a good way to do this.
Attendance is better.
Is it really?
You've got
Meetings.
Sandy Williams here about telephone.
Hey,
Hey,
Mr. Sandy.
Hello.
Hey, Sandy, this is Grace. Hope your family has a great Thanksgiving.
Appreciate that. Hope all of you do too. It's upon us, and then Christmas will be there.
These are strange and unusual times, but we'll Allegra, I'm about to mute.
Yeah. Are y'all on Zoom or phone?
I'm Zooming.
Okay. I tried that yesterday with my iPad with the affiliate meeting, and I didn't do very good. I didn't have my assistant to help me.
Well, I'm on an iPad.
Well, it's great when it works.
Good morning, everybody. This is Randy Boyd.
Hey, Randy.
Morning, Randy.
Good morning.
Got a Sandy here, Randy.
Yeah.
There's Mike. You're muted, Mike.
Thank you. I'm glad that's the only thing I've done wrong so far.
It's comforting to know everybody is having to really some new skills here with technology. Real challenge.
We had an affiliate call yesterday. We gave a prize for the best smile. So competition is open. Sandy, I think we had 68 on the call yesterday.
What Tupelo had 28, was it?
Yeah, that was Ted Mall made that calculation. It may be like voting. Maybe like voting in some places. I think we had about 10 more registered than on the board. So
yeah. Mike.
Yeah.
While we're waiting on the 501c3s following through and applying for the money they are privy to?
Well, it's a little slow go right now. Stuart McMillan is going to be on the call today, and we'll give an update on that, and I think she'll show that by county. So we're hopeful that things will pick up.
Yeah, how do I hear them?
You hear them now? They're all muted. It's okay. You're unmuted. See?
Hey, Stuart.
See?
Good morning, Dana. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone.
Hello. Yeah, we're already getting questions about your program, Stuart. So
Well, I'm ready to take them.
You're a popular person.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to turn off my video because I'm going to eat my breakfast. I've just gotten in, but I'm here and I'm listening.
Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Hey, Chad.
I guess we're talking. There could be more than one thing.
Allegra, we've got 34 people that are signed on and we had approximately 45 registered. Do you want to give them a couple more minutes or what would you like to do?
I have that we have about another minute.
Okay.
My watch may be a little slow, but we can give them 1 minute and we'll start.
If you guys are waiting, I thought.
Christy, if you will, we'll go ahead and start. And if you'll begin by giving us all some basic instructions on how we want to run the meeting this morning, that would be very helpful to everyone.
That would be great, Madam Chair. Okay, first of all, good morning, y'all. I'm Christy Lewis of the Create Foundation, and I am back in school teacher mode. So just a couple of things about today. Make sure that your phone or your microphone is muted during the process, and you have a couple of view options. If you will hover over in the top right-hand corner, you can either view speaker only, or you can have a gallery view. And then the other thing that's pretty interesting about the process is in the bottom, you have the option to mute yourself or to stop your video in the bottom left, as well as a chat box. And so we'll have time for a chat box. I'm going to mute Lewis right now until it's time for him. And then you have a chat box where we'll have a Q&A session, and I'll do a quick refresher on that towards the end. But again, please mute your mics at this point in time. And then when it's time for you to speak, you can unmute or I will unmute you. And that's all I have. Everyone welcome. And Madam Chair, it is now yours.
Thanks, Christy, for making all the arrangements for us to have this Zoom meeting. We want to welcome our legislators, our representatives and senators, as well as our commission members this morning. Well, on such a beautiful November day, it's kind of tough to be inside in the middle of the day. All of you should have received a packet from us prior to this meeting. It includes some valuable information. It had the Create annual report. It had all of our members by county, all of the members of the commission's regional goals and objectives. And then kind of a special thing this year, it's our 25th anniversary, and we certainly want to thank all of our legislators for their cooperation and support over the past 2 decades. The way the meeting will run today, when I finish, Bill Rennick will play. He is pray for us. He is our vice chairman for the commission. Lewis has a special presentation. And then Mike Claiborne, who was president of Create, and along with Stuart McMillan, will share a report on the CARES Act implementation. And then each one of these will follow the one before them without further introduction, as we try to be mindful of everyone's time. But before we pray, I want to make sure that everyone is aware that we have lost one of our region's great citizens and great leaders. Bobby Martin passed away earlier this month, November the 4th. He was a remarkable man, an original member of the commission, served as the commission's first vice chair. He also served as chairman of the Create board. And he was instrumental in establishing the Create, or the community affiliate, in Tippah County, which is part a subpart of the CREATE and works carefully and closely with CREATE and the commission. And he was recently, just prior to his death, named as a Jack Reed Northeast Mississippi Community Award winner. We will miss Mr. Martin so much. I know all of you share that with me. But let's have a few moments of silence before Bill Rennick opens our meeting with prayer.
Father, we thank you for the life here on earth of Bobby Martin. We thank you, Father, for his many contributions to his community, to Northeast Mississippi, to this commission, and to his fellow man everywhere. We thank you for his servant's heart and for his dedication to making our area better and better for all that choose to live here. Father, thank you for these men and women that serve in our legislature. Father, we pray that they will seek your guidance in all decisions that they make. We pray for their wisdom and for their safety as they do the people's business. Father, thank you for this commission. Bless our work as we strive to do your will in our lives and in the lives of those we serve. We pray all this, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Lewis?
Lewis, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Allegra. I want to take a few minutes to accomplish 4 things. First, remind you of who the commission is, what we stand for. 2, to discuss some of our initiatives and other partners that have worked with us on those initiatives. 3, look at some key data about what we should all be concerned about. And finally, recap legislative issues that we've been interested in the past and also in the future. We are a part of the CREATE Foundation, and we are financed totally by the CREATE Foundation. We receive an annual grant each year for our operating expenses, and we appreciate that very much. The purpose of the commission is to build regional unity and cooperation. We've been doing this for 25 years. We do this by engaging in regional community development. We are comprised of 54 members from 17 counties, and you've already met Allegra and Bill, and we were established in 1995. I want to briefly go over some of the major issues that we have dealt with and are still dealing with in most cases, and talk a little bit about some initiatives that we've been in the middle of with some key partners. In the area of leadership development, this was the first major initiative of the commission almost 25 years ago. A regional Covey-based leadership program was rolled out, and thousands of Northeast Mississippians have participated in this and benefited from it. Under racial reconciliation, our largest effort there has been a continuing one for the past 16 years with Mission, Mississippi. We support the local chapter here that involves monthly meetings between whites and blacks to try to build relationships between the races in a Christian environment. Under rural broadband access, this has been a hot issue, of course, in the pandemic, but our interest goes back almost 20 years. And because of the lack of this access, at that time, we had a spinoff of the commission called Megapop. It's still in existence. It's done a lot of fiber throughout the region. And then, of course, during the pandemic, we've had the benefit of some federal funds rolling in through the state to help Commissioner Brandon Presley's initiative with the electric cooperatives. More about that later. And in highway development, we had another spinoff called Get Smart to try to get all of the key highways 4-lane that have not been done in this region, about 150 miles worth. This was a statewide organization headed by Bill Rennick, and we operated for a couple of years and still have a lot of interest in that. Before I talk about educational attainment, which we've spent most of our time and energy on the last 14 years, I want to go through some key data which would give you a better background perhaps for what we're doing in education. Population is always an indicator of the health of a region, in my opinion, and we don't have a good story to tell. We do in relation to the state, but not in relation to the nation. If you look at this, we're measuring population between 2010 and 2019. The percentages you see there are not annual percentages. That's actually how much the region grew over a 9-year period. Our total region population was up 1.2% in a 9-year period. The state was up 0.3%. That's almost no growth in the state for 9 years. The nation was growing at a rate of 6.3% over that period of time. So when you compare the growth rates, you can see that we're growing fourfold faster than the state in our region, which is good. But when you compare us to the nation, we're behind there, and they have a 5-fold rate increase over us. More disturbing to me is the fact that 12 of our 17 counties lost population in this 9-year period. The only 5 that gained population were the 3 pool counties, the 3 counties that came together to do the site for Toyota, Pontotoc, Union, and Lee, and then the 2 counties that house our 2 major research universities, Lafayette and Oktibbeha. So I think we have a lot of interest this past year in starting a discussion at the local level. And one of the first subjects would be, why are you losing population? And to get to the answer to that requires a lot of analysis, and we hope a lot of action on the part of people to reverse that trend. Per capita income is another thing that should be of concern to our region. Per capita income is determined by taking all sources of income and dividing it by the population. And you can see that when you compare us to in Mississippi to the nation, we've got a $15,000, almost $16,000 gap. And worse from our standpoint, and it's been this way since I've been looking at this data for 16 years, we're behind the state as a whole. So that's particularly disturbing. We always tout Northeast Mississippi, but when you look at the hard, cold facts of per capita income, we're trailing not only the nation, but the state. I mean, not only the state. Right, I said it right first time, I'm sorry. Let me have the next slide, Christy, please. High school completion is the first look, I think, at educational attainment. And this would be people 25 years of age and older. And you can see that the nation has a 90% completion rate, high school, among the adults. Our state is at 84.2%, which is a big gap from the nation. But again, we trail the state and the nation. So I think this explains a lot of why our per capita income is not doing well. We don't have the educational attainment that we need, and we've been working on this for a long time. It's critically important that we do that, particularly in this economy where education past high school is really important. But if you can't get past high school, you can't do anything else educationally. This is a little deeper breakdown of educational attainment. It puts it in 3 categories. The first one is adults who never finished high school. And we have a horrible gap between the national average in our region. The state has done better as a whole than we have on dropouts. So when you look at our adult population, it's not a good selling point that we have that kind of percentage of people who've never finished high school. Then the next group are ones that finished high school only. It looks like we're ahead in that category, but that's not really true because the third category also finished high school. So when you add those up, we go back to the previous slide and show that, you know, in high school completion, we're well behind. So with that in mind, I want to talk briefly about some education initiatives that we've been involved with over the past 14 years or so. and give some credit to some people. I can't spend much time on these, but the Media Alliance is a partnership between the Create Commission, Three Rivers, which had the money, and then the Northeast Mississippi Media, many of whom donated advertising space and time free of charge. This was an effort in 2 campaigns to try to highlight the problem with dropouts and talk about dropout prevention and dropout recovery. Dropout prevention summits have been held for 12 years. We've seen over that period of time, not only a highlighting of the problem, but also this is a way to present best practices. And many of the school districts have taken those ideas and run with them. I'm pleased to tell you the dropout rate in our region has dropped 50% over the past decade, which is remarkable and good. We've got more work to do, as you can see from the adult side of things. Dropout recovery was one of our proudest moments. 2 Create grants of $90,000 to 2 of our community colleges resulted in a huge increase in GED graduation. That led to a state appropriation that was made possible by then State Senator Alan Nunley. And the legislature has been appropriating money for this purpose for that period of time. I guess it's been 12 to 13 years that this has been happening. All 15 community colleges in the state receive $200,000 per year for this purpose only. And that doesn't sound like a lot of money on the budget scale, but it means a lot to those community colleges because they had very little state support prior to this. Tuition Guarantee has been a wonderful program. It's involved partners throughout our region in terms of providing a guaranteed community college tuition-free education to any high school graduate in our 17 counties. It's taken 3 foundations, 2 planning and development districts, cities, counties, businesses, individuals to provide the money. The money in each county is different. And we've seen a growth over the last 10 years. And we estimate that 15,000 young people have taken advantage of this program and been covered by it. Early childhood has been a topic that the national business community has been pushing for 25 years. Not just any childhood program, but high quality early childhood. We've financed a lot of initiatives here, and we support the state efforts on the approach you're taking to building these collaboratives, and that's been very important. Those kids coming out of those collaboratives have tested very well on kindergarten readiness. Districts of Innovation was a law found by Bill Rennick in Kentucky, and the legislature passed that solely on our insistence and our urging them to do so. I don't think we had any other organization involved in the passage of this law. What this does is allow traditional school districts the opportunity to develop a plan for their whole district, or a plan for one of their schools, or a plan for a program to run it similar to a charter school, in the fact that they don't have to have as many onerous regulations to form barriers to them getting something done. So this passed about 6 years ago. There were 3 districts in the state that started. Vicksburg, Gulfport, and Corinth led the way in our region. Subsequent to that time, we've had 4 more school districts take advantage of it in our region. Baldwin and Boonville did a joint effort, which has been successful. Oxford was the 4th district, and now Tupelo. So we're proud of that. We think it's a wonderful way for people to start having more responsibility about their schools on the local level. Aubrey Patterson was a member of the Institutions of Higher Learning Board, and after Dan Jones and Mark Keenum became the CEOs of State and Ole Miss, he arranged a dinner meeting for us with them one August, and I presented data like you've seen today, except more of it. And we just took the approach with them. Hey, we got the 2 largest research-based universities in the state in our region. Help us pull out of this hole we're in terms of income and education. So both of those school CEOs got their top leadership involved, their deans and other staff people, and worked several times together to come up with 3 great initiatives. One that we're really proud of, with the deans of the 2 education schools coming together. They got financing from the Heron Foundation of about 16 million, I believe, on the front end. They've expanded the program now, but this is a full ride scholarship for top students across the country to come to State and Ole Miss. Their obligation is to teach in Mississippi for 5 years after they graduate. So we're going to have a stream of high quality teachers coming forward. That never would have happened without our pulling that group together. School accountability is what we're working on now. I'll have to admit, when the A to F grading system came out, I was deliriously happy. I thought for the first time we can see the good schools versus the bad schools. Honestly, that's not the case. There are several problems with this. One of the things that we monitor in our 32 districts is how well they're doing on this accountability system. And if you want to know how well a school is going to do, I can virtually predict it. Look at the children who come from low-income families, and you can check that by free and reduced lunch. The ones that have 95% plus free and reduced lunch are going to be the D and F schools. The ones with fewer in the lunch program are going to be the ones who do the best. A single letter grade does not do anything in terms of telling you how well a district did in all phases of their operation. It's too narrow. And we've turned our schools into testing factories. All they aim for are those April standardized tests, a one-day kind of deal to see how you've done for the year. And to me, that's a very narrow view, and we've got anxiety all over the map. Teachers, principals, superintendents, parents. It's just not good. We either need to change it radically or replace it. When you look at the data and look at some of the things we've talked about, I want to share some concerns. A couple of them you haven't heard yet, but it's obvious we've got low incomes, we've got low workforce participation. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. When you see an unemployment rate of 7%, that's not 7% of the adult population. That's 7% of the people who are either working or looking for work. That's called the workforce. Workforce participation is measured by the percentage of people 16 and over who are either working or looking for work. And guess what? In Mississippi, only 54% of the people 16 years of age and older are working or looking for work. We're the second lowest in the nation. I think we're just ahead of West Virginia. That's something we really need to work on. Low educational attainment, we've talked about. I think that contributes directly to our low incomes. Inadequate career exposure, we haven't talked about much, but our nation has been sold on the notion that your child is a failure unless they get a 4-year university education, and we all know that's not true. There obviously should be a lot of people going to a university. Many of us here have benefited from that tremendously, but also there are tremendous job opportunities and career opportunities for young people who finish high school, who go to a community college or take special work to become qualified to do the work. And the problem is a lot of our families don't have the support that they can give children to understand what the career opportunities are. And consequently, it all falls on the shoulders of the schools. Well, we've tried to enhance that through the Toyota Fund, not only in our 3 counties, but also to extend what we can from that effort to other counties, and that's working as well. But career coaches has been a really strong program. We have a career expo that's taken place every year except pandemic year. And we have programs that we finance within the schools so that we don't just do spot things like a career expo, but they can utilize money to do things from kindergarten up, so that kids are always getting career exposure and understanding without just taking the assumption they don't have full help at home. It's helped them to see what's available, what it might pay them, and so forth. School accountability, we've talked about. 4-lane highway completion has been disappointing. The only thing that's really happened here with state money has been some work on Highway 15, which is very much appreciated. But it, along with Highway 25 on the eastern side of the state, Highway 7 running out of Oxford, and several other highways need to be finished. This was phase 4 of the highway program that started in 1987. And this has never been handled, I think, the way it should have. And now the money has dried up. So this is a great infrastructure opportunity. If we could complete those 150 miles roughly in our region, that would put us well ahead of some of these issues like population loss. Rural broadband access, not only have we supported Megapop, but we've also supported, of course, Brandon Presley's efforts to extend broadband access throughout the whole state using the 26 electric cooperatives. And I'm pleased to say that about half of them, I think, have gotten into some phase of planning or implementation. And within our region, our Northeast Mississippi region, my understanding is we have only one electric cooperative that at this time is choosing not to move forward. One of the silver linings of COVID is the fact that about $75 million of COVID money, federal relief money, is flowing through those electric cooperatives that are moving forward. So that's going to help them with their capital needs on the front end. So we are appreciative of the legislature putting that through. And also, I think about $150 million of COVID money is going to go to the school systems through the MDE to give more access to children who don't have it. Population loss, we're going to attack from the local level, but honestly, broadband access and 4-lane highway completion, along with better education, would go a long way to keeping population loss down. Want to thank you for past support in 4 areas, at least 4 areas. The dropout recovery, your ongoing appropriation there has been important. The tuition guarantee program passed the House. We never could get it through the Senate, and so we abandoned that approach. We still have it throughout our region, and we think the state missed an opportunity there. For about $5 million, we could have put that on board about 4 or 5 years ago. Districts of innovation, we mentioned that. We have the 5 districts using that, and we appreciate y'all passing that. And then rural broadband access, we appreciate you passing not only Brandon Presley's 2019 initiative, but also the money behind it with COVID 2020. Going forward, we urge continued support, of course, for dropout recovery, the $200,000 a year, if not more. Improve broadband access. Anything you can do there would be helpful. And we really need to find ways to stress career technical opportunities for our children and adults. And we have a lot of campaigns, media campaigns I see on television and in other places, and you've got work from the Toyota Fund here and others throughout our region. So there's some growing interest in that, but there are thousands of jobs in our region that are unfilled because we don't have the people available with the skills to do them. Quality early childhood program, your approach there on the cooperative kind of coalitions is terrific. We hope you'll expand that. I appreciate the time. Mike Claiborne is president of Create Foundation. Stuart McMillan is one of our employees who works with the Toyota Fund and also with general work with Create. So Mike, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Lewis. I hate that we had to leave the beach scene there to put up some more information. But before we move to the Mississippi CARES Act, I just wanted to give a thank you to our legislators for passing the Endow Mississippi legislation actually 2 years ago. We're in the 2nd year of this program where $500,000 in tax credits are made available throughout the state for contributions to endowment funds at community foundations. So we have 7 community foundations in the state. And so we start off equally dividing that money plus an additional pool of funds. And we've had really great success with this, particularly in Northeast Mississippi. There's a minimum of $1,000 gift required a maximum of a $200,000 gift, which would give a tax credit between $250 to up to $50,000. And so it has really been helpful to encourage people to think about gifts to endowment funds. And we've just about exhausted statewide all of the credits for 2020. This program will start over again the first of the year, and there'll be an opportunity actually for 3 more years. It's a 5-year program, so 3 additional years now. Create will start receiving applications on the first business day in January the 4th. Then we have to submit applications to the state level on February the 4th. And so we'll be getting out more information on this, because it's really important that those that are interested in making a gift and getting this tax credit fill out the very simple application that you see on your screen. Probably take you about 3 minutes to fill it out. And again, that first comes to Create. Then we certify it, send it to the state level all at one time on February the 1st, I believe, for this next year. Final thing on this, just to show you how successful it has been in the Create area, we're estimating that of the $500,000 in state tax credits, the Create area will claim 50% of those tax credits for the entire state. And so we're very proud of that, and for the generosity of our donors and participating in this program. So again, wanted to thank our legislators for making this available, because it certainly has had an impact. Okay, let's move on to the Mississippi CARES Act. And again, want to express our appreciation to our legislators for this initiative. There was $8 million approved statewide to be allocated through community foundations. $4 million of that was to go to nonprofits, $4 million to go to food pantries. Initially, there was a limit of $4,000 per grant placed on each of these areas. The legislature, when they reconvened, extended that number to, or increased the number to $12,000 per organization, both for the nonprofits and food pantries. And so this has been a challenging process. The community foundation statewide worked together to get the process put together, first based on the legislation that was passed. Then the state agency administering this, MDA, issued guidelines to us on what could be covered and not, and what we needed to provide. Probably a month or so after that, there was an accounting firm brought into the picture to provide assistance and guidance. We received some additional directions and guidelines on how the money could be used. And then finally, most recently, I think it was towards the end of October, the state auditor weighed in and said what we could and couldn't do. And so it has been challenging to have a consistent message to people in terms of who is eligible and what could be covered under this. And so thank goodness we have one of the brightest people around, Stuart McMillan, who joined the Create staff in August. She's working both with our Toyota Wellspring Fund and with other Create projects. And so her primary focus right now through the end of the year is with the Mississippi CARES Act. So she is our project manager for this. and is doing a spectacular job in interfacing with our statewide partners, and then also our Create staff who is providing support. And Stuart will talk more about this when she comes up next, but we have developed a really good partnership with the 6 United Ways that are in the 21 counties that Create covers for this project. Normally we cover 17 counties. We picked up 5 counties on the southern end just as a part of the process to be sure all counties in Mississippi were covered. Gemma, I'm sorry to say for this project, Marshall County is picked up by the Northwest Community Foundation. So we're working with these United Ways first to get the word out, and then, as Stuart will tell you, helping us with the application process. So again, we appreciate our legislators for making this available, and I promise you we are doing everything we can to provide support to nonprofits and food pantries to make it as easy as possible for them to access this money. And so Stuart, if you would give us some more details, and she can be available to answer questions that you might have. So Stuart, take it away.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate your intro, and again want to articulate our gratitude to the legislators who've made this funding possible. I would like to dig into some of the work that we have done to help support the applicants, be that nonprofits and food pantries, and we look forward to sharing the resources that are on the screen. We'll be sharing out after this meeting so that you are equipped to be an advocate in your community. So there is a portal, MississippiCaresGrant.com, that across the state, all applicants are utilizing to apply. And that also has resources. It has a link to the actual legislation. There is information with a little a flow chart of what information is needed to apply, and other resources there. One of the things that we felt strongly, and this was in partnership with the United Ways, which we are very grateful for their work and helping communicate in the counties in each of their respective purview areas. We hosted trainings to applicants directly to walk through the full process. What does it mean to create an account, to complete the eligibility quiz, to actually fill out the application and submit all necessary resources. So I will be sharing with you, I hosted 4 of those trainings, and am sharing a link and passcode to the most concise, the last training that was hosted. So this is a resource for organizations that would like to apply to really hopefully answer on the front end some of the questions about the application process to streamline and make it easier for everyone. We also have worked to communicate out both about this funding, and then when there were the legislative changes that expanded the definition of nonprofits, that increased the funding amount from $4,000 to $12,000. So I've listed for you, just as a point of reference, all of the stakeholder groups that our Create team has targeted twice now, once at the end of September and once at the beginning of November, to really push out this information and try and get kind of more of a grassroots effort of how do we get the information about this directly to the individuals in these communities who know the need, who can make sure the eligible food pantries and nonprofits are equipped with that information. I've linked 2 newspaper articles for you as well that you can utilize. We have had coverage on WTVA and WCBI, and are very grateful for that as well. I want to jump back before we look at kind of where we are. Christy, if you could go back just for a second to hit a couple key dates for you that I want to have in your mind. So as Mike shared, we just on Sunday, that funding amount increased to $12,000. So that was a big shift, and we wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. there are two other key dates that are really integral in this process. The first is December 15th is the deadline for all interested applicants. Any food pantry or nonprofit who intends to apply for this money must have created an account in the system and must have completed the eligibility quiz to determine they are eligible for this funding. So that is a really key date. We're less than a month out from that, and we want to make sure that all interested applicants are setting up an account and taking that eligibility quiz. Then in terms of the actual funding, this is a reimbursement-based grant, and the legislation allows for organizations to submit receipts and information, proof of payment, starting from March 1st through December 30th. So in order to take advantage of that last 2 weeks of December, we will allow applications, so the full application can be submitted by January 15th. So those are, I know there's two different dates there. I don't want that to be confusing. An organization must have registered by December 15th and then must have submitted their full application by January 15th. So with that, I want to now give you a really clear picture of what we are seeing. And again, the Create Foundation is overseeing $1.6 million of that total 8. So we're looking at $786,000 for food pantries, $786,000 for nonprofits in that 21 county area. At the top of your screen right now, what you can see is our high-level roll-up of what we have in the system. So once an organization creates an account and completes that eligibility quiz, they now have the option to save, to pause, to work on their application, to get together resources, etc. So as of Wednesday, November 18th, our system had 121 draft applications. So that is organizations that are somewhere in that process from having created an account to starting an application. We have actually received 67 applications. So you see that under submitted, and our Create team, we have approved 23 applications. Then underneath that, what I wanted to show you is a breakdown of across our 21 counties, what we're seeing in terms of applications and approvals. And the way that you see that broken down, again, we have divided up and partnered with our 6 United Way organizations and outlined the counties that they serve to help push the information out, to keep them updated so they know where we need to be better push communication, better target this information. Because at the end of the day, our goal is, 1, to get all of the money out, and 2, to make sure it's getting out to the greatest needs in each of our communities. I would like to see that across the board in all 21 counties, we have 1 or more applications. So as of Wednesday, we currently have applications received in 11 of our 21 counties, and we have 10 that we have not received any applications. And I will flag, and you'll see this when we send an update, I accidentally have 1 grant for Union. That should be reflected in TIPA. There's 3 grants for TIPA, no for Union. So the 10 counties that we've received no applications for currently are Noxubee, Choctaw, Montgomery, Webster, Winston, Benton, Itawamba, Prentiss, Tishomingo, and Union. So those 10 counties we've received no applications for currently. The other 10, you can see the spread of where those applications have been received. So with that, I would love to open it up to questions. I do want to flag that we will also be sharing this same information we shared yesterday to the affiliate organizations. And I had the great question of, is it an option to actually share the organizations that have applied, as we're asking you to communicate out to help support this process. So I've created a second resource that matches this exact same format, where I include the actual organizations, and we will share that with you so you can see. It's not as concise. It's a little bit longer resource, as you can imagine. But we want you to know what organizations we're seeing apply. I will also, with that, with looking back at all of the organizations, and I can only speak for the Create team and what we're receiving. We are predominantly receiving applications for nonprofits. So if you look at that 67 applications that have been received, cumulatively of those, there are 61 of those that are for nonprofit organizations and 6 that are for food pantries. And of the applications approved, 21 of our approved applications are nonprofits and 2 are of food pantries. So food pantries in particular, we are not receiving the same level of applications and would love to really target those and make sure that that funding can get where it's needed. So I hope that gives you some additional context, and I will open it up to questions. And I know that Christy shared earlier that since everyone is on mute, I have the chat box pulled up and I'm happy to answer those questions. And I can flag if it would be helpful to kind of jog your memory, some of the types of questions that I've been seeing. And one of the, I guess, the big questions from a oh, someone is unmuted. Is there a question?
There he is. I'm not a legislator, but I'm looking down through this chart right here, and I'm seeing that Corinth is only covering Alcorn County. The Lafayette, Oxford County is just covering Lafayette County. But you get the Tupelo group there, Northeast Mississippi, they're covered in a greater area there. I know you're confined to the geographical areas that you're assigned to, but is that a good assignment to have?
Great question. So they are predominantly covering the counties that those United Way organizations serve. You can see for the North Central Starkville United Way added Montgomery, and then Northeast Mississippi United Way added Benton, Calhoun, and Tippa to take those. So that's it. Really, we followed with what that purview looked like. So those United Ways are closely linked to the agencies in the area, are very aware of the work that's going on, and can offer support with pushing out that messaging. I cannot articulate how much I appreciate their support, both in sharing out that information and then also in helping do an initial review of applications to make sure information is being submitted. I do have one question. Where is Marshall County being covered? And that is by the Northwest Community Foundation. Am I correct on that, Mike?
Yes, correct. We actually share Marshall County with Northwest. We include Marshall in the commission and everything that we do. From a charitable giving standpoint, Northwest actually provides more support for Marshall County. So that's the reason for the split. And back to Frank's question, again, it just the assignment for United Ways just mirrors the counties that they cover normally with their organization. So you really have different levels of capacity at all those United Ways. Again, some just serve a single county, but then we looked at the counties that were not covered by United Ways, which honestly, 90% of the population in the 21 counties are covered by the existing United Way. So we did, as Stuart mentioned, they picked up additional counties just again to be sure everyone was covered.
Thank you, Mike. I've received another question in the chat. Can you distribute the list of counties with no applications to the group? Would love the presentations for further review. 100%. We also will share, again, what you're seeing on the screen has the breakdown of the number of applications by county. We're going to share a resource that shows this chart, but it's 2 pages long instead of 1 page, and it will actually have the organizations listed. So where it shows the 7 grants for Alcorn, you'll see that the United Way of Corinth and Alcorn is an applicant, and the other applications from that area. Next question, I'm verifying that the date of January 15th is correct for applications being due. And yes, I can validate that. It is time-stamped. It is by 5 p.m. that day. So don't want to be confusing related to that. The application will close at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and no one will be able to continue applying. So it just that additional context when you're communicating out. And then really appreciate the confirmation. This meeting is being recorded for those that are not in attendance, so you can be able to review this as well.
But Stuart, just reiterate that they have to be in the system by December 15th. Once they're in the system and have started the application process, then they can submit through January 15th for expenses that they've incurred through the end of the year, correct?
Correct. So it's really the first really important date is December 15th. And would love that if you are communicating out about this, I would highlight December 15th to make sure there's no confusion. If you are not in the system by December 15th, you don't have the option to take that extra month to complete your application. There is another question. Will this include Northwest Community Foundation in the list you provide? So since we are not overseeing Marshall and the other counties in their purview, there won't be any information shared out about that. At the MississippiCaresGrant.com website, there is a link to the breakdown of each of the community foundations and all of the counties that are in each of their purview and the contact information for that organization. So if you are interested in finding out more about any counties outside of the 21 CREATE counties, your best point of contact is going directly to that community foundation shared on the website. Great questions. Any others? I don't see any others in the chat right now, but I'm happy to answer them if so.
Thank you, Stuart. And as I said earlier, you can see our program is in the best hands possible, and we really appreciate Stuart's great work on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, thank you, Lewis and Mike and Stuart, for all of the valuable information. We are, it's wonderful that we've been reminded of the accomplishments of the commission and the work of CREATE today. And we know that information is power, and our challenge as legislative and community leaders is to use that valuable information to energize ourselves and our communities to do the hard work that we need to do to make our region and our state a better place. The floor is now open for questions and discussion about any of the issues that have come up today or any that are on your mind. And Christy, if you will, you can remind us the best way to proceed.
Well, there's 2 ways. One, you can unmute your phone and speak directly to the group, or you can put it in the chat box to everyone so that we can answer that as needed.
While we're waiting on questions, let me remind you that our next commission meeting is February 26th.
Any questions? Lewis laid out some of the concerns, and we want to remind our legislators of those concerns. Dropout rate recovery is very important, and the support for our community colleges. Tuition guarantee has been very successful where it has been established. We'd love to see more districts of innovation, not just in our region, but it would be good for lifting the level of education in our entire state. And then we are all acutely aware of the issue of broadband. I would say that's probably the silver lining, if there is one, to the pandemic that we've experienced. You want to take that, the first chat question there, Lewis?
I'm going to let Christy Luce answer that.
Okay, so thanks, Lois. The question was, are there any initiatives to promote workforce development in the secondary level? Actually, there's several things taking place. Lewis mentioned our Virtual Career Expo website. If you've not taken the time to take a little view of that, it is well worth a preview. We have several of our professionals from business and industry across Northeast Mississippi speaking to what all of our 18 career pathways are. We also have Mentors for a Minute, which feature many of our employees across Northeast Mississippi sharing about how you can live and work and go to school in our area. The other thing that I find is very interesting, as Alvin shared in the chat box, the ITP Career Expo website, we have 14 career coaches in the Pool schools, which is 8 school districts. We have one in Corinth. Corinth actually added one to our cohort this year. And then we have 2 at Houston High School. The next thing that we're adding is we received a governor's discretionary fund grant, which partners with the Skills Foundation, Woodward Hines, and several of our community colleges and our economic developers. And they're adding 5 career coaches. 2 will go to Columbus School District, 2 will go to Alcorn School District, and 1 will go to Corinth School District. And they will be working on the development of the pipeline from high school to many of our degree pathways, which support our high demand work sector strategy plan and our programs at the secondary to community college level. Does that answer your question, Mr. Williams?
Give me a second. Sorry. Thank you. It does. Is there a measurable difference in the participation rate in workforce development?
The one thing that I can tell you is I think making students aware with the Wellspring moniker of Expose, Prepare, and Connect, I think we do a really good job of exposing our students in North Mississippi, but preparing them and connecting them has been kind of the challenge. We have several ROI pieces in our Wellspring Fund, as well as across the career coach strata as a cohort, and we measure those things. But what we're seeing is intentional planning, meaning dual enrollment courses at our community college level that allows those students to align in high school. Some really intentional internships through the career coaches with partnerships with Three Rivers. Bill Rennick and his team have been fantastic with their internship program. And then also making sure that everybody's at the table with our community partners as far as our business and industry, our economic developers, and then our community colleges. And so I think right now, as far as the participation, that's improving. We've got some ROI data that we're tracking on that. But as far as intentionality, I think there's been a big gap between the high school and the next level, whether that's degree programs, non-degree programs, secondary as far as feeding into your community colleges or into your university levels. But we're measuring it, what we can capture and what we're intentionally working towards.
What can we do to speed that process? It seems like engagement isn't where a lot of talk at a lot of levels, which is really good, but just the engagement's not what we would hope. Any ideas on how to?
Lewis, you want me to answer this? Do you want me to answer this, Lewis?
Absolutely, and Bill Rennick may want to pitch in too.
Yeah, and Christy, you or Alvin, I think, need to mention Imagine the Possibilities virtual resource, which is tremendous in terms of, I think, partly addressing the question.
The ITP website link is on our chat box. And again, we'll have that recorded and we'll send that information. I would strongly encourage that. I think the biggest thing, and this is something that Lewis alluded to in his conversation, is our statewide accountability model. It captures what we're doing in K-12 as long as it's an academic based and it's a after the fact data capture. I think the other challenge is, how do our business and industry begin to really engage in our community, in our schools, become engaged, understand the talk, meet with your leaders in your schools, because the accountability model doesn't allow for that currently. And so to speed it up, I don't know if scaling up is the right thing to do initially, but I do think you're in a position where you can go slow to go fast if you begin
Sure.
the conversation at your leadership level in the district.
Well, we've got, this is Bill Rennick. We have, through the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, we are spending millions of dollars in Northeast Mississippi. And we cover 27 counties with the Mississippi Partnership Workforce Area. We have 6 in-school programs right now. We have out-of-school programs for people that are from age 16 to 24. But our in-school programs, we actually applied for a waiver with the United States Department of Labor and was awarded that waiver to spend up to 50% of all of our federal youth funds on in-school programs. So we created a program called the Gateway In-School Program, and that is in place in 6 school districts right now. It's been very, very successful. We try to move it into other schools, but frankly, we go where we are wanted. And somebody has to want to do the work. This is not stuff that just falls out of the sky and into your lap. Somebody has got to do the work. All of our programs include paid work experience. And it is a progressive model that we have tried to design that moves people from that secondary level into the community college level and meeting those very things. The workforce participation rate that Lewis mentioned earlier is the main goal of what we're working on. We're trying to make sure that people understand that that work is good, that work ethics, we call them now, necessary job skills. That is included in all of our curriculums that we do on in-school programs. So we do have a structured program that is available to any school in our 27 county workforce area. But once again, we concentrate on school districts that want us to come in and help, because it's something that they have to buy into and have participation in. And it's once again, it's available to all school districts in our 27 counties. It's relatively new, only several years old. And of course, 2020 has been a disaster in trying to get some of them up and going. But our idea, once again, is to progress them through the secondary system into the community college, into our internships and apprenticeship programs, and right into those careers in our sector strategy plan where they don't get just a job, they get a career. So we are working on it. And very proud of a lot of the work that has been done, but much more work left to be done.
Bill, you have a question. Where are the 6 Gateway programs in the schools? Where are they?
That's an unfair question to ask of the person that is just the boss. You have to have somebody that I will try. New Albany, Houston, Pontotoc, Calhoun County has a great program. Corinth has a program, and I think the other one is at Alcorn. Once again, we have contacted a lot of these school districts. Some of them are wanting to do it. They're just not quite ready. And we understand this 2020 thing. I mean, it's been, school administrators and principals and folks that are having to make decisions just on whether they can keep the doors open. Expanding programs has been a tough thing, but the ones that are in place, love to talk about what they're doing and Anybody that is on the commission or anybody that is listening or any of our legislators that want us in your school districts, if you'll contact us. From our last meeting in the last quarter where we talked about some of our Skill Path 2030 labs, we got some really good response from some of our commission members about expanding that program. That's what we're working through, an ARC grant. But all you got to do is just let me know at Three Rivers. We're I'll answer to the same number, 489-2415. And if you call, somebody is going to get back in touch with you, and we would love to discuss the Gateway in-school programs with anybody that is interested.
Bill, we have a question from Mr. Williams about the curriculum. Will that also be part of the conversation if there's outreach?
Oh, absolutely. The curriculum, we created the curriculum once again to focus on what we listened to industry tell us that they were needing. And everybody knows that one of the main things that industry is needing is people that will show up to work on time, that will come back after lunch, that will show up on Monday, all of these different things, be able to work in teams, be able to communicate with each other. All of this is built into the curriculum. We even have a financial component in the curriculum because we found that there's much time being spent in a lot of our industries just doing garnishments. For instance, we had one of our major employers in North Mississippi that employs almost 1,000 people tell us that they spend a tremendous amount of time on garnishments with for their employees because we don't teach that kind of thing through the process. And we put some of these young people in their very first job opportunity, and they do not understand taxes being held out of their check. I mean, things that all of us take for granted are not things that are being necessarily instructed along the way. So our curriculum includes all of that. We furnish all of that into each school that takes part of this. And we also include testing of the work keys test for every one of these students. And once again, they have a paid work experience. We want them to have the opportunity to work. We feel like they're going to learn something. So, and a lot of small businesses take a lot of pride in their student. They want their student to be better than anybody else's. And we've had a tremendous success in these 6 places that we're already in, and we would love to see that program expanded.
Are there any additional questions or concerns for discussion?
Madam Chair, it doesn't look like there's anything else in our chat box.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate so much all of you taking time in your busy schedules to be a part of this meeting today. We want to challenge everyone to wear your mask, wash your hands, keep socially distanced, and to have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season. Lewis and staff, thank you so much for your preparation and well-organized meeting. And we look forward to seeing all of our members February the 26th at 10:30 a.m. And we wish our legislators a successful session beginning in January. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are we adjourned, Madam Secretary?
We're adjourned.
I feel like a line from a movie.
Thanks.
You're welcome.